Welcome to my first GodPod, which discusses the shocking way Jesus likens a Gentile woman to a dog. Imagine you are in 1st century Palestine. Your daughter is ill, and you've tried doctors and faith healers and no one has been able to cure her. Then you hear about a guy who's coming through town. He's not from around here, he's Jewish, and back where he's from, he's done some amazing things. So you go to find him. He's walking down the road with his entourage. There are lots of people around him, and surrounding him are a bunch of guys who look like his security detail. You can't get close to him. So you cry out, "Have mercy on me, Lord, Son of David." You're making a bit of a scene. So his security, his disciples, tell him to send you away. This is your last chance to save your daughter, so you are desperate. But the guy keeps walking as though he didn't hear you. You have to keep trying. You elbow your way into the crowd and somehow manage to get past the disciples. You kneel in front of him and ask again, "Lord, have mercy." You're now blocking his way, so Jesus has to respond. But instead of compassion, he says, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." In other words, I'm here for the Jews, not Gentiles like you. The Gospel makes this clear in describing the woman as a Canaanite, a Syrophoenician. The Canaanites were Israel's old enemies 800 years before. They had worshipped Baal and his female consort Asherah, and there were continual conflicts between Yahweh, Israel's God, and Baal in the Old Testament. This Gentile woman is not any old Gentile. She belongs to the most hated group of all. As any loving parent, you can't give up. You plead, "Lord, help me." But his reply is yet another rebuff. It is not fair to take the children's food and throw it to the dogs. The Greek word used here means little dog, like a house pet. The woman replies, "Yes, Lord, but even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their masters' tables." At last you've convinced him. He praises your faith and your daughter is healed. The woman must have been so grateful. But we are confused. This is not the behaviour we expect from Jesus. We expect a compassionate and merciful response. But here Jesus seems to treat her with disdain. His comment may have been influenced by the fact that the Jews were providing bread for the rich Gentile port of Tyre. Nonetheless, the woman forces him to change his mind. This woman, an outsider with no religious power or significance in the Jewish world, challenges Jesus. She forces herself into the picture, makes him pay attention, doesn't walk away when he dismisses her. She engages in wordplay and beats him at his own game. This is the first time in his public ministry that Jesus encounters a Gentile. Non-Jews were considered so unspiritual that even being in their presence could make a person ceremonially unclean, and they were sometimes referred to in Greek as wild dogs. But Jesus often turned prejudice on its head. It may be this woman for whom we have to thank that Jesus' ministry opened up to Gentiles. This story also shows the two ways of following Jesus, which may challenge us. There are the disciples, acting as security guards to prevent unwanted people from access to Jesus. They protect the traditional standards and boundaries of the faith, even though Jesus accused them more than once of being ye of little faith. The woman's faith is not docile, such as that often extolled in works of piety or devotion. Hers is a questioning, challenging faith, demanding answers and responses not only from those around her, but also from the very God in whom she believes. She demands of us to admit where we stand, within the boundaries of comfort and convention, or with a God who is constantly breaking down the barriers that divide human beings one from another, who constantly challenges us to imagine a God whose grace and mercy extends not only to ourselves and those like us, but to all those whom we hate, revile, ignore, and dismiss. See you next time, and don't forget the subscribe button.